Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of The Scottish Prisoner by Diana Gabaldon, narrated by Rick Holmes and Jeff Woodman, and directed by Kathleen Gormley.
Prologue. If ye deal in death routinely, there are two paths. Either it becomes routine, in which case ye risk killing for nothing and thus lose your soul. For if the lives ye take are worth nothing, neither is yours. Or if ye become that much more aware of the value of a life, and that much more reluctant to take one without the direst necessity. For that way you risk losing your own life. There are the quick and there are the dead, and I do not mean what St. Paul meant about that, but not your soul. Soldiers manage by dividing themselves. They're one man in the killing, another at home, and the man that dandles his bairn on his knee has nothing to do with the man who crushed his enemy's throat with his boot. So he tells himself, sometimes successfully. But it marks you, killing, no matter why it's done. It's a brand upon your heart, and while it may heal, the mark cannot be removed, save by a blade. All you can hope for is a cleaner scar. Section 1. The Fate of the Fuses. Chapter 1. April Fool. Hellwater, the Lake District, April 1st, 1760. It was so cold out he thought his cock might break off in his hand, if he could find it. The thought passed through his sleep-mazed mind like one of the small, icy draughts that darted through the loft, making him open his eyes. He could find it now, had waked with his fist wrapped round it and desire shuddering and twitching over his skin like a cloud of midges. The dream was wrapped just as tightly round his mind, but he knew it would fray in seconds, shredded by the snores and farts of the other grooms. He needed her, needed to spill himself with the feel of her touch still on him. Hanks stirred in his sleep, chuckled loudly, said something incoherent, and fell back into the void, murmuring, "Bugger, bugger, bugger." Jamie said something similar under his breath in the Gaelic, and flung back his blanket. Damn the cold. He made his way down the ladder into the half-warm, horse-smelling fog of the barn, nearly falling in his haste, ignoring a splinter in his bare foot. He hesitated in the dark, still urgent. The horses wouldn't care, but if they noticed him, they'd make enough noise, perhaps, to wake the others. Wind struck the barn and went booming round the roof. A strong, chilly draught with a scent of snow stirred the somnolence, and 2 or 3 of the horses shifted, grunting and whickering. Overhead, a murmured "Aga" drifted down, accompanied by the sound of someone turning over and pulling the blanket up round his ears, defying reality. Claire was still with him, vivid in his mind, solid in his hands. He could imagine that he smelled her hair and the scent of fresh hay, the memory of her mouth, those sharp white teeth. He rubbed his nipple, hard and itching beneath his shirt, and swallowed. His eyes were long accustomed to the dark. He found the vacant loose box at the end of the row and leaned against its boards, cock already in his fist, body and mind yearning for his lost wife. He'd have made it last if he could, but he was fearful lest the dream go altogether, and he surged into the memory, groaning. His knees gave way in the aftermath, and he slid slowly down the boards of the box into the loose piled hay. Shirt rocked round his thighs, and his heart pounding like a kettle drum. Lord, that she might be safe, was his last conscious thought. She and the child. He plunged at once into a sleep so deep and luxurious that when a hand shook him by the shoulder, he didn't spring to his feet, but merely stirred sluggishly, momentarily befuddled by the prickle of hay on his bare legs. His instincts came back to life in sudden alarm, and he flung himself over, getting his feet under him in the same motion that put his back against the wall of the loose box. There was a gasp from the small form in the shadows before him, and he classified it as feminine just in time to restrain himself from reflexive violence.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?